One day, the Pope is visiting America and driving around Washington in his limo when he gets an idea. "Driver, I'd like to drive for a while." "Sure," says the driver. So the Pope takes the wheel and starts driving the limo like a maniac all around Washington, dodging in and out of traffic, going 80, cutting people off, driving over embankments and curbs. Suddenly, a cop pulls him over and walks towards the limo. When the Pope rolls down his window, the cop stops dead in his tracks. The cop then says, "Okay, buddy, have a nice day," and goes back to his squad car. "We got somebody really important here," he says to his partner. "Who is it? A senator? No, more important. The president? No, more important. An ambassador? I don't know who it is," the cop replied. "But the Pope is his frickin' chauffeur." A young job applicant was being interviewed for an entry-level position. His prospective boss asked, "Are you a smoker?" "Not even a little," said the young man. "How about alcoholic beverages?" "Never touch 'em," he replied. The boss smiled and asked, "So you spend a lot of time with girls?" The applicant said, "No, not really." "So you don't have any vices?" "Well, I do have one," he admitted. "And what would that be?" the boss asked. "I tell lies." A guy out on the golf course takes a high-speed ball right in the crotch. Writhing in agony, he falls to the ground. When he finally gets himself to the doctor, he says, "How bad is it, doc?" "I'm going on my honeymoon next week, and my fiancée is still a virgin in every way." The doc said, "I'll have to put your penis in a splint to keep it straight and let it heal. It should be okay next week." So, the doc takes 4 tongue depressors and forms a neat little 4-sided bandage and wires it all together. It was an impressive work of art. The guy mentions none of this to his girl, marries, and on his honeymoon night in the motel room, his new bride rips open her blouse to reveal a gorgeous set of breasts. This was the first time he saw them. She says, "You'll be the first. No one has ever touched these pristine twins." He whips down his pants and says, "Look at this, it's still in the crate." A farmer has 4 beautiful daughters. He's a bit overprotective of them, so when Friday date night rolls around, he greets the gentleman callers at the door with a shotgun over his shoulder. Friday night rolls around, and the doorbell rings, so he walks to it, shotgun in hand, and opens it to a young man who says, "Hi, I'm Freddie. I'm here to pick up Betty. We're gonna go eat spaghetti. Is she ready?" The farmer is a bit bewildered by this greeting, but he can't see anything wrong with this guy, so he tells him, "Okay, have her home by 10. A few minutes later, the doorbell rings again, and the farmer opens the door with his shotgun over his shoulder to a young man who says, "Hi, I'm Jim. I'm here to pick up Kim. We're gonna go for a swim. Can I come in?" The farmer is again bewildered by the greeting, but again, he can't see anything wrong with the guy, so he tells him, "Oak, have her home by 10, and no funny business in the pool." A few minutes later, the doorbell rings again, and the farmer opens the door with his shotgun over his shoulder to a young man who says, "Hi, I'm Joe. I'm here to pick up Flo. We're going to go to a show. Can she go?" By now, the farmer is completely dumbfounded by these greetings, but again, he can't see anything wrong with the guy, so he tells him, "Okay, have her home by 10. I'm Chuck. And the farmer shoots him. There's an old story about an old PGA Tour golfer. He hired a new caddy before the British Open since he wanted someone with local knowledge, but he hated any distractions. He told the new caddy, "Look, I want you to keep your mouth shut, and no matter what happens, don't say anything unless I ask." The caddy politely answered, "Yes, sir. I completely understand." On a long and narrow par 4, the golfer pushed his tee shot right into deep rough and was 180 yards out to a two-tiered green with the pin in the back right corner. The golfer took an iron and with a mighty swing hit a high fade to about a foot from the pin. He looked at the caddy and with much excitement said, "Did you see that shot? That was a magnificent shot, right?" The caddy didn't say anything. "Look, I give you permission to say something. Wasn't that a fantastic shot?" The caddy answered, "Yes, sir, it surely was, but you hit the wrong ball. If you look here, this is where your ball is." A man is at work one day when he notices that his co-worker is wearing an earring. This man knows his co-worker to be a somewhat conservative fellow, so naturally he's curious about the sudden change in fashion sense. The man walks up to his co-worker and says, "I didn't know you were into earrings." "Don't make such a big deal. It's only an earring," he replies sheepishly. "Well, I'm curious," begs the man. "How long have you been wearing an earring?" Ever since my wife found it in our bed." Terry was talking to his friend at the bar and said, "I don't know what to get my wife for her birthday. She has everything, and besides, she can afford to buy anything she wants, so I'm stuck." His friend said, "I have an idea. Why don't you make up a certificate saying she can have 60 minutes of great any way she wants it? She'll probably be thrilled." Terry decided to take his friend's advice. The next day at the bar, his friend asked, "Well, did you take my suggestion?" "Yes, I did," Terry replied. "Did she like it?" his friend asked. "Oh yes," Terry said. "She jumped up, thanked me, kissed me on the forehead, and ran out of the door yelling, 'I'll be back in an hour.'" Susan's washing machine breaks down, so she calls a repairman. Since she has to go to work the next day, she tells him, "I'll leave the key under the mat. Fix the dishwasher, leave the bill on the counter, and I'll send you a check. Oh, by the way, don't worry about my bulldog Spike. He won't bother you. But whatever you do, do not, under any circumstances, talk to my parrot. I mean it. Don't talk to my parrot." When the repairman arrives at Susan's house the following day, he discovers the biggest, meanest-looking bulldog he has ever seen. But, just as she had said, the dog just lies there on the carpet watching him go about his work. The parrot, however, drives him nuts the whole time with his incessant yelling, cursing, and name-calling. Finally, the repairman can't contain himself any longer and yells, "Shut up, you stupid, ugly bird!" To which the parrot replies, "Get him, Spike."